Hey everyone, it's Mr. Sauce here. Hope you guys are doing all right. I just wanted to make a quick video that will go over and help you out in class today. I know I can't be there, but this video is going to be the lesson that I want you to follow and use for your help on assignment number 1 that will be on Google Classroom. There are just 6 questions on a Google form um, setting, right? So what we have here, everybody, is the US customary system conversion chart that we created the past few days. And I just want to take a minute and just review the different concepts on this page. And I'll start by talking about the 3 categories. So you see we have, let's just get a drawing tool out here real quick. So you see we have our weight, our length, and the volume, right? These are our 3 charts that we're working with. There are 3 columns. And in length, right, we have inches, feet, yards, and miles. Pretty standard units that we're used to using. Um, in weight, we have ounces, pounds, and tons. And then in volume, right, if you like to cook or if you like to bake, right, we have fluid ounces, cups, pints, quarts, and gallons, right? We might be familiar with those terms if we do like cooking or baking. However, let's take a second and let's talk about what these numbers and these arrows on here represent. So you see how on each one of these cycles or these charts, right, there's a down arrow going from the top unit to the second unit, and then there's an arrow going upwards, an upward arrow, up arrow, I guess you can call it, going from our second unit to the top unit. And when we work our way down, right, when the size, right, an inch is really, really, really small, right, the width of a finger, a mile, right, is 4 laps around a track. So that's quite a big difference between inches and miles there. So when our units are getting bigger, right, inches to feet, yards are bigger than feet, and then obviously miles are bigger than yards. When our units are getting bigger, we're going to divide, always going to divide. And the numbers that we're going to divide by to go from inches to feet are 12. Right, there's 12 inches in 1 foot. To go from feet to yards, we divide by 3 because there's 3 feet in every yard. And then to go from yards to miles, right, this one's a little tricky, but we divide 1,760 because there are 1,760 yards in a mile. Right, so when our size of our unit increases, right, if it gets bigger, we divide. If the unit is getting smaller in size, that means that there's going to be more of the unit that we're converting into, right? So from miles to yards, right? It might be the same value, but it's going to look like there are a ton more yards than there are miles if we were to convert it. And that happens because we multiply, right? So to go from a smaller size, right, so miles to yards, we multiply. So we're going to multiply by the same value, so 1760 or 1,760. To go from yards to feet, we multiply by 3. And then to go from feet to inches, we multiply by inches. So you can see the different units that we're going to be working with in weight and volume. But for today, I'm just going to specifically talk about length. And this cycle right here is going to be a great method for you to use in order to convert these units together. So let me just take a second and clear the screen, bring up an example or 2, and I think we will do pretty well with this method here. So example number 1, and you can see it's the same exact chart except for just a little smaller up there so we can refer to it and look at the example. But our first example we have, right, says feet with an arrow to inches, right? So all this means right here is I'm asking you to convert the unit 4 feet to our inches unit, right? We want to find out how many inches is equal to 4 feet. Okay, so the way we do that by using this chart, okay, you can take a look and find our first unit, which was feet, maybe underline it, and then realize what we're going to be converting to. So we're actually converting to inches, which is upwards. So when we go up in the arrows, we're multiplying. But now we have to find out what value we have to multiply by 4 in order to get to inches, right? So to go from feet to inches, right? We start at feet, we go to inches by multiplying by 12. And that makes sense because if you were to think about the problem at the beginning, let's just clear some of this red here. There are 12 inches in 1 foot, right, on a ruler, okay? But if there were 4 rulers, right, you just take that 12 and multiply by 4, or you could just add it to another 12, add it to a third foot, add it to a fourth foot, and you end up getting 48 as your final conversion. Okay, so that's the idea. Using our chart is really foolproof here. So taking it back one step, right, we start at feet. We want to go to inches, so we know we're going up. When we go up, we multiply. So going from feet, 4 feet, timesing or multiplying by 12, we get to 48 inches. That's example number 1. Example number 2, let's get rid of some of that red here so we can clean it up some. And let's figure out where we're going in this specific example. And you'll see that it's going from yards to feet. So just getting started, right? You want to find our first unit in yards and realize that we are going up again, right? So we're going to be multiplying to go to feet. And the unit that we're multiplying this time, because there's 3 feet in 1 yard, is by 3, right? We're going to be multiplying by 3. So we take that 6, once we realize that we're going yards to feet and not feet to yards. If that was the case, then we would go backwards, right? We'd go down, so we divide. But we're working with yards to feet, so we're going to multiply. And we have to take that 6 and multiply by 3. Okay, so for every yard, there was 3 feet. So if we had 3 feet plus another 3 feet, which is a yard, plus another 3 feet, plus another 3, plus another 3, plus another 3. Essentially, I just created yards here, right? Because it's 3 feet in 1 yard. So it's like 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus another 3. Or you could think of it as 3 times 6, which gets you to 18 as your final answer here. Right, but the idea is you want to find this cycle. You want to find yards to feet, and that will give you a good idea of what we're going to do, either multiply or divide, to get to our necessary conversion. Okay, 1 or 2 more examples left, and you guys should do pretty well. Here's our third example. It's going to be 4 miles to yards. Let's just clean up some of the scorecard or the conversion chart here, and let's go from miles to yards. All right, so miles at the very bottom, right, the biggest unit we're working with, to yards. Notice how to go from miles to yards, we have to go upwards. We have to go vertical. Okay, and when we go vertical, all the time when we go up, we are multiplying. Right, that arrow on the side ends or points to where we're going. Right, so we're going up. So what we do is we would take that rate that we need to use, so times 1,760, and multiply 4 times 1,760. Now you could use a calculator to do that. I'm going to go ahead and do it the old-fashioned way. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 6 is 24, so we write a 4 there, carry the 2. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 2 is 30, so we write a 0 there and a 3 up top. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So our answer would be 7,040 yards, or in 4 miles. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot of yards there. Okay, but that's the idea of our conversion, right? We want to find where we start. So we started at 4 miles, and we want to convert to how many yards. And you can either see that this arrow on here is going down, right, from yards to miles. So we're not going to divide. We're going to go up. We're going to go from miles to yards. So we're going to multiply here. Okay. Last one that we're going to do together. This one's a little tricky. It's a little different, but I think we're going to do fine with it. But let's see this example right here. I wrote, how about if you skip a level? So we've been going just directly one level or one unit up, but what if we jumped a level? And what I mean by that is, let's go red again. If I said go from 4 yards, so I'll underline yards, only even better, I'll make it into put it into a little rectangle. And then we're going to inches. So this time, way up here, right, we're skipping over a level. We're skipping over feet. I don't even care about the feet. I want to go from yards to inches. Okay. What are we going to do? Now pause the video and see if you can try to take your best guess in terms of how are we going to go from yards all the way to inches. Now, if you found out and if you took a guess that we're going to use both of these multiplications, then you're absolutely correct. Okay. You wouldn't be far off though if you said that we're just going to multiply by 3 or just multiply by 12. Okay. But when we skip a level, so if we go from yards to inches, whichever multiplications we jumped through, whether it's the one we jumped over, the one that we're using here up top, right? No matter how many multiplications there were on the side, so in between yards and inches, we'd have to multiply by 3 and then multiply by 12. We have to do both of those multiplications. So if we start at 4 yards, everybody, let's just erase that line. But if we start at 4 yards, to go from 4 yards to feet, we just multiply by 3, right? Let's actually even clear this up even better. So let's start completely over. So to go from yards to feet, as long as we remember that we need to go to inches way up here. But to go from yards to feet, we multiply by 3. 4 times 3 will get you to 12. So we know that there are 12 feet in 4 yards. Okay, it makes sense because for each yard, there's 3 feet. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus another 3 is 12. Okay. But now we have to go all the way to inches. So we'd have to take that unit that we just found, so 12 feet, and now multiply by another 12. And then 12 times 12 would get you to 144. And that would be how many inches would be in 4 yards. Okay. So rule of thumb is whenever you jump a level or you have to go through 2 conversions, do both of those multiplications there. Okay. You don't just choose one and do it. You have to do both of them. So you can multiply by 12, then multiply by 3, or vice versa. All right, last one about this specific type. What if we had 2 miles to feet? So let's just clear the screen here again. Go in the opposite direction. But if we went from 2 miles to feet, okay, we're going to be working with a kind of tricky one because it's going to be a big number, right? So you're going to have to trust yourself here with some of the work that we end up doing. But to go from, like I said, sorry, I'm trying to clean the screen here, 2 miles to feet. We want to first find out where our miles are, right? Which we know that they're at the bottom, and our feet, which are up here. We're skipping over a level. Do we see how we're not even using yards? So this is going to be similar to what we just did. But to go from miles to feet, right, we have to recognize that we have to multiply, not just once, but twice. Okay, we have to multiply using both 1,760 and by using the number 3 in order to go from miles all the way up to feet by jumping over yards. So there are 2 miles, and if we were to multiply 1760 or 1,760 by 2, right, 0 times 2 is 2, 2 times 6 is 12, right, the 2 carry the 1, 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15, so write the 5 carry the 1, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So if we doubled 1760, we'd be at 3,520. Okay, not bad, but now we have to take that and multiply by 3 to get to feet. So we have to take that same number and multiply by 3. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 5 is 15. So we write a 5, carry the 1. 3 times 3 is 9. Plus 1 is 10. 10,560 feet are in 2 miles. That's a ridiculous amount. But the idea, everybody, right, is we have to combine both of those units if we skip a level. Okay, I hope this video helps you. Please check out assignment number 1 that's on Google Classroom. There's 6 questions on a Google form, and I think you guys will do pretty well. Use this use this video I just created, or the notes that are up on Google Classroom regarding this conversion chart. But you guys have a great rest of your day today. Have a great afternoon, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.